That's just to name a few.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. Well, let's jump into this deal, man. People may not know that, but a lot
Can
of
you hear
people
me?
put two and two together. Yeah, we got you loud and clear. A lot of people put two and two together as well. I've had you on the show before.
Yeah.
Your son went to Colorado as well. I did a interview in your home with him called a person player prospect interview. Like I said, if you didn't see it, go check that out as well. Even though I know he's now moved on from Colorado to FAU, still gives you insight about him as a person. And I think that's interesting, man. But let's talk a little bit about Colorado. I know of course, you're big into football and so forth. What's your take on Colorado right now as the season is going on?
Man, I'm sure Coach Prime them knew they were gonna have some growing pains, man. You lost Shador, and as much as people want to, badmouth Shador, he was out there making some magic for sure. And same thing with Travis and Jimmy and LaJohntay Wester. Definitely didn't get the credit he deserved. So they knew they were taking it back. It's not too many places in the country where you can just lose your starting quarterback and the Heisman Trophy winner and just come back, unless you're at Georgia, Bama, places like that. Ohio State. Ohio State will lose a receiver, and the next dude come in is colder than the dude who left. That kind of thing. But
Right.
But the reality is, man, I'm pretty sure Coach Prime knew that they were gonna, lose a little bit. Especially like you said, Colorado Coach Prime has chosen to go portal heavy. I thought it was a great idea when he first did it. Still think it is. But those young guys that you bring in the freshman class, you can't miss on them, or you can't, or you have to develop them too, because because the problem with the portal is I've seen that you had guys come in and like you say your favorite YouTuber who talk about how this guy was going to be this guy was going to be that, and then when the guy's not that, everybody runs off and has something to say bad about the kids. At the end of the day, Coach Prime, for what he did, I thought he did a great job, getting those guys to go 8-4, because I don't think either one of us thought they would go 8-4 last year. I think
9-3 actually. Yeah, jumped in 9-3.
Yeah, last year was the year before that. Even the 4-8. He's gotten so much success that now everybody's ready to write him off. But that Georgia Tech team beat Clemson. And Houston was 3-0.
That's a good Georgia Tech team, bro.
Yeah. So and they really could had a shot. They just couldn't stop the run. And like you said earlier, Salter hasn't been playing bad. Everybody's talking about the quarterback play. It's not the quarterback play. I mean, Salter really wasn't bad. Stobbs come in and did what I knew he could do. He came in with my son, so I watched him on the scout team and stuff like that. And that's why Prime was very comfortable putting him in there, because they see that stuff. But you got to stop the run, man. Period. And we know that because we football guys, and I tell people it all starts and begins with the run. Running sets up your offense. Running, sets up your defense. It's just that simple. If you can stop the run.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, right? Because, again, speaking of these days, we knew these days were coming, right? And to Prime's credit, he knew his son was on the clock, right? It wasn't like he had coming in as a freshman like he did. He had 2 years at Jackson State, so the clock started clicking early. And so, yeah, you got to win. You got to make a splash. You didn't have time for growing pains, in essence. So I know his urge was to win, to put his son in the best situation. That's what parents do.
That's what he should have. Let's make sure we're clear about that.
As he should. Yeah. As he should have.
Yeah, but I get a lot of people always talking about him playing daddy ball or whatever the case may be. Man, his son can play. I mean, Prime went out there. Like, I seen people play daddy ball and their son can't play a lick. He was at least out there. He was making plays, right? I've seen it. We've had the conversation.
Hey, and they got jersey number 1 on. And they got jersey number 1 on. And one of my favorite lines on the W.R.E is, if you wear jersey number 1, either you the baddest dude on the field or you the coach's son. There's only 2 reasons you wear number 1.
No. There's one other reason. You forgot.
Uh-oh.
That money. You remember?
That money.
Well, that's 2 reasons. Because that money will do it too. But it's one other reason that think about Miami.
Oh, that mama fine. That mama fine.
I didn't see it, bro.
You ain't see the call I got, AJ. Did you? I'm about to get back into coaching.
Okay. You about to get it back in there?
Yeah, I had somebody call me. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. I had videotaped the phone call. Let me see. She called. This person called,
Right.
and they were talking about how good their son was, and I'm trying to see if I can. I go back in the archives, and I have it right here. I think I have it, but anyway, I'll pull it up as we go on. But anyway, and they were talking about how good their son was and everything, and coach, man, I heard a lot about you. I want you to get back into coaching, this, that, and the third. And my son needs your help. And I said, I don't know, I'll think about it. And then we did a video call, and then that's where I was. But anyway, but we'll talk. I'll make sure I bring that up before
you digress. Right. I already know what it's in.
But anyway, kind of poor setup, but we'll bring it up later. But anyway, no, but to that point, man, no, I always thought Shedeur could play, right? Travis, great. You went and got Jimmy Horn, those kind of things. Again, he's a young guy right here from Sanford, Florida.
Jonte Wester is a bad boy.
Weaver from right out of the OCP.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a lot of guys. But like I always say, I got cussed out here on my show. Shout out Tab from Texas when I was talking about, hey, well, Coach Prime should be going in these homes. And shout out to Lexus. Hey, Lexus. I hope you still ain't mad at me, baby. Come on home. But anyway, people got mad. Why you keep talking about that, Coach? Why you keep talking about that? Because doing this for 25 years, you know what's to come down the pipe. A lot of people can't see the future. They see the moment and not understanding the movement. And it's funny. You go on here today, these same people, they need to be in the portal. I mean, they need to be in high school recruiting these guys. Look at that. Saying it. Now, that's what made me a hater. Tab from Texas told me nobody, Coach Prime don't want to sit on your roach-infested couch. Huh? And I was saying the third. And I just said this real quick for you run with it, but this is now where you had to play that kind of evenly, where you still had those guys. I get it. But then you had the opportunity to get some of those high school guys, and I think this is where you may be heading. Then you got to play them. You got to give them a little taste.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm not big. I definitely agree with Coach Prime. I don't think he has to come out on the road and come into your house and whether you have an expensive house or even or you have a roach infested house. I think once you go up there, now he doesn't have to do all that. And I think he developed relationships with the kids' parents that he was recruiting. I get that, and you know as well as I do. Once they got you, they ain't talking to mom and daddies no more. They talking to the kids. That's recruiting 101. I tell parents that all the time. You better look. And honestly, I think it's wise for him to have people come to Colorado and see Colorado. Versus him just coming to your home telling you, it's going to be great. And one thing I admire about him, he keeps it real. He really, really does. But I think one of the things that you just brought up, like, you bring in kids, and I don't know if this is so much. One thing I admire about Coach Prime too, and we had this conversation. And you've been a coach. You got to let your coaches coach, like as a head coach. You really do. I mean, so he don't go in there and be like, "Oh, you got to play this guy, you got to play that guy." He lets the position coaches choose who they want to play, and then if it's an issue, he gonna deal with you. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of times I think I think the biggest issue is so much turnover on the coaching staff, personally. I think because now you got a guy that comes in, he want his guy. He want his wide receiver. He want his running back. He want his offensive line. He want his linebacker. Guys that change, and that can sometimes, be an issue. But at the end of the day, man, like if a lot of these kids are leaving Colorado, a lot of underclassmen, and they going to other schools, they're doing well. So either I think there's definitely been an issue of evaluating talent. There's been a lot of guys that come up there with a lot of hype, and then they don't reach the same standards. You know what I'm saying? And then people aren't patient with them. They're ready for them to go and all those kind of things. Because everybody want to win, but that thing that happened at TCU was a once in a lifetime type thing. It really was. especially nowadays, because everybody has NIL, everybody has this and that. NIL.
And you're talking about the natty run they made, not the win.
Colorado. The year before Colorado.
Yeah. But I want to make people make clear that you weren't speaking about Colorado winning TC. You're talking about the natty run. Those are the anomalies, right? That's the anomaly. And you know what I found out doing this, AG, that people want to take the exception and make it the rule.
Oh yeah,
it's
that happened one time. That's happened one time. And they want to act like anybody can do it, and it was just right time, right place. My man came in, and they had some pieces. They had some pieces. They had a lot of people that got injured the year before. They came back, but I just think, man, one of the things that Colorado has to do is, and I think Coach Prime, is all over it, is give people opportunity. I love the fact that they gave Stobbs opportunity, and he did well. At the end of the day, though, I don't give a damn what they do and he'll tell you that. I mean, you listen to his press conference, he's really being honest. They got to stop the run. It's just that simple. I mean, you did you can't give up 1,200 yards in 3 games and expect to win. It just don't work like that.